everyone, Triple Aqua here from the West, Key West that is. I'm Mermaid Christiane, and thank you for joining me today on my YouTube channel. So today I want to talk to everyone about a subject that is a little sensitive because I don't think most people want to take responsibility for their actions, their feelings, their thoughts. But the subject for today is, and it's more of a question, are you on the pity party train going nowhere? And I say that to say, because we always want to be right in our thoughts, our words, our deeds, our actions, our convictions, we don't ever want to assume responsibility when we played a part in something that went sour, or we basically created our own reality. And I say this because something was brought to my attention just recently today, but it was something that happened, I guess, a day ago. And it was someone feeling slighted that that they had, I guess, in so many words, had been cast out, so to speak. And what people don't understand is that, and I learned this from a boss, and he was an amazing boss. I talk about him a lot in my videos, Mr. Whipple. And he said one time, and it really struck a chord with me, and I really resonated with it. He said, you know, people don't get rid of people. People get rid of themselves. And I started to look at that and think, wow, what a really profound statement to say. You know, people don't get rid of people, people get rid of themselves. And if you look back at things that have happened in your life and haven't gone according to plan or how you would want them to do or be or happen or excuse me, a lot of times we have perpetuated situations, and we are, because we are the author of our own novel, we have created the outcome that we have. But we don't like to admit that, because then we would have to admit that we're wrong, or that we weren't playing nice in the sandbox with other people, or we were being catty, or we were being jealous, or we were just being all of the negative things that people can be when they're not in their divine self. Because, you know, as a feminine or masculine energy, you can be a divine feminine, you can be a divine masculine, or you can be a distorted feminine, or you can be a distorted masculine. But the choice is yours, because you have free will. And I've spoken about it before. You can't control other people's actions, but you can control your own. So what happens is, when you make bad choices or you make mistakes, and really, I don't really even like to call them mistakes. I like to call them lessons, because if we've learned from those experiences, then it's a lesson. Now, if we keep repeating the same cycle over and over again, well, that's where that old saying comes from: history repeating itself. That's what it is. It's basically, you're doing the same thing over and over again, and you're always going to get the same result. And I think it's Einstein says that, you know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. But at the same time, you know, there's another side of that coin, and it's also admitting that you had a part to play in this. You got rid of yourself, or you are the reason for that problem. But then also, don't be so hard on yourself if you went through that lesson and you didn't make a good choice, because who you are today defines who you are right now at the present. The past is the past. There's, you know, I've spoken about it before. If you could completely live your life engulfed in experiences that you have put yourself in, and they have gone wrong, or choices that you made and they weren't, you know, now you feel that they're shameful, or don't dwell on that, because you can change who you are going to be right now, who you are going to be in the next 60 seconds, in the future. It's all about bettering yourself, so you're a better human being than you were yesterday. Yes, we do, and we can think of the past. You know, I kind of like to think of the past, and someone said this once, or I read it somewhere. You know, it's kind of like your rearview mirror is really small, because what's behind you is really not that important as to what's in front of you. And that's why your windshield is so big, because that's what's important, is keeping your eye on the prize. And when we tend to think, oh, so-and-so slighted me, or, you know, I can't win for losing, or no good deed goes unpunished, or, you know, that always happens to me, woe is me. That's all you're gonna get, because you're literally have gone on the pity party train going nowhere. So assume responsibility and think to yourself, did I play a part in that? How could I have done that better? How did I perpetuate this situation? Did I rub salt in the wound? I mean, what did I do? And then think about it, address it, say to yourself, I don't want to be that person in the future. I don't want to act that way in the future. And then let it go and move on. Don't beat yourself up about it and feel ashamed or embarrassed, because we all make mistakes. We're human. But the thing is not to continually perpetuate the situation and continually make it worse and rub salt into that wound, and then it's not going to heal. So interesting enough, you know, people do get rid of themselves. And I, for one, I've always been the type of person that I give people so many opportunities to make things right. And a lot of times most often than not, I know exactly what's going on. I know if someone's behaving poorly. I know things that are being brought to my attention. I know that maybe they're speaking ill of me or of other people. And a lot of times I let it go, because sometimes it's hearsay. And I know that we're human, but to me, what's more important is your comeback. How you address the situation like an adult and move forward to make things right. And I like to say that I give people enough rope to hang themselves. And I know that's kind of a really morbid thing to say, but there comes a point that you do have to cut the cord. And it's only because you've given somebody more opportunities than the universe would allow. And I'm the type of person that I'm very direct, and I like to say things and just rip the band-aid off, grab the bull by the horns. It comes off a little brass, and it comes off harsh, and sometimes even rigid. So I have to be very careful of what I say, but it's really coming from a good place, and I'm not doing it to be mean or to be ugly. I just don't like to beat around the bush. I'm one of those people like Bambi's mom. If you can't say nothing nice, and don't say anything at all. And when I do say something, it's because I mean it, and I'm being direct, and I'm trying to be helpful. It doesn't always come across like that, but I, for one, respect people that tell you the truth in your face, because that's the kind of person I might not like it. It might not feel good, but later on I'll be like, you know, that took a lot of courage for that person to say that to me, and I have so much respect for them now. I didn't like it, but why didn't I like it? Because it triggered something in me that I needed to work on myself. And we can be mirrors to one another, and we can trigger people, and we can see things that we don't like about ourselves by what that person is saying, or how that person's reacting to our action, whether it's something that we've said, done. And you know, but when you're one of those people that, oh, it's my parents' fault, or I was raised like this, you can't continue to blame people for your life. So snap out of it. Get off that pity party train going nowhere, and start taking responsibility for your actions. You know, if you know, there's a lot of things that happen to us, and it's not our fault. Like, you know, we can be let go of a job, and especially right now, there's a lot of people that are being let go of a job, and you didn't perpetuate that necessarily at all. But there is times where, you know, we've been lazy at a job. We haven't really done what we're supposed to do, and they get rid of us, but really didn't we really get rid of ourselves? Or we really treated a friendship very poorly, and that person got tired and eventually cut the cord after trying so hard. Yeah, they don't want anything to do with us because we've been negative and toxic. So we have to look at that, like, what part did I play in that? How did I react? What did I do to get this person to push them over the edge that they really have removed their energy from me completely? And, you know, I always say people can renew themselves. But when you continually perpetuate things and continually do the same negative thing over and over and over, are you redeemable? No, not really. Not at that point, you're not, because you haven't done the work to show actions. Because you can say things till you're blue in the face. I mean, lip service is just that, lip service. But if you walk the walk and not just talk the talk, then your actions speak louder than words. And when you do make a big mess out of a situation, you can't just snap your fingers and everything be fine, or just pick up your magic wand and wave it in the air and everything's fixed. No, it's very hard to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. But you can do it, but it's going to take a while, and you've got to get the pieces, and you've got to be patient. And until you develop that relationship again, and you work hard to develop that relationship to fix things, then it can work. Now, you might have done something to somebody that they're not ready to forgive you right now, and that's okay. Give people their space. We don't need to push our ideologies onto people, because then we are trying to control their free will, and that's not healthy either. And I'm going to talk about that in another video, because I feel like if I start talking about the other thing I want to talk about, I'm going to take us on a completely different course, and I don't want to do that. I want to stay the course right now. But the message for today basically is assume responsibility. If you have been, let's just say maybe things aren't going your way, reflect. Why aren't they going my way? Am I playing a part in this? Am I just really the victim? Because there is always that too. Or what have I done to be in the situation that I'm in today? Where did I play a part in making this go sour? You know, like I said, there's those instances that you are complete and total victim of the situation, and you had no idea it was happening. But more often than not, you know, if something like that has happened, you have played a part somehow. Now, usually the person that is wronged is the one that will cut the person off eventually, and then just keep moving forward and continuing their life and doing something. And that person should be the one saying, well, I'm the one that's the victim. I'm the one that gave you all these opportunities. I'm the one that was nice, or I'm the one that didn't judge and turn the other cheek a million times and let you slap me over and over and over again. But that person doesn't even do that, because that person is in a place where they realize and they assume responsibility. They say what they have to say, they cut the cord, and then they move on. But there's also forgiveness in that. They've forgiven the person, but doesn't mean you have to forget or reward bad behavior, because your relationship with people, whether it's a work relationship, a friend relationship, an intimate relationship, a family relationship, or your time is valuable. Your energy is precious, and you should be giving that energy and that time to people who really respect you and respect your boundaries and believe in you and want to encourage you to grow. So I hope that made sense, and I hope that it was a little food for thought today. But the main thing is, don't be or play the victim. It doesn't get you anywhere. All you do is basically get stuck in a rut, and all you're doing is pointing the finger. And it's like what people say, remember when you point the finger, there's 3 more pointing right back at you. So I'd like to pull from the Akashic Tarot deck, because I feel like this is like the age-old story, history repeating itself. And that's what the Akashic Library is about. It's about memories, history, things that are in our DNA from our ancient ancestors, cycles, whether they're positive or negative, that we continue to repeat. You know, you're able to break these cycles by your actions, and you're also able to break and free your ancestors from generational curses. I'm going to talk about that in another future video. That's a really important subject, and how you can do that. And if you're curious about that, Google it, how to break generational curses, or just start praying about it and ask God, Source, the universe, to give you the strength to help break those generational curses that have been passed down to you. And maybe that's why you are doing the same things over and over again, and, you know, playing the blame game, you know, being the victim, playing the victim. So I kind of already shuffled earlier, but I'll do a little shuffle here and hopefully one will come out for us. I hope you will like, subscribe, and share. And you are enjoying this channel of my little mermaid wisdom that I put out here and there to the universe. Whoa! All right, looks like we got several, so I'm gonna hop down and grab those. Yes, and we have 3. Oh, cool. Isn't that something? So the one that is facing the bottom is the Buddha prepares. So is that what it says? Yeah, the Buddha prepares. So get grounded, go within. Look at how, you know, the Buddha's there, but there's people following the Buddha. There's people waiting to see what the Buddha has to say. You know, that's kind of like, you know, what is it that you need to go inward, and how are you affecting other people by your actions? You are important. Your energy is important. So don't let your actions have a very negative effect and then try to blame everybody else, because no, you see the light that's shining in the Buddha and you see the aura around. Like, you're responsible for the energy that you put out there. You're responsible for the energy that you let in. So reflect and figure out what it is that you are doing that is repeating cycles, and how can you break this so that you are taking responsibility for your energy, for your life, and not playing the blame game. This is a really good card. I'm sure the book says a lot more. It's a 13 in numerology. It breaks down to a 4, which we are in a 4 year, which is really cool. And it means balance and stability. So stabilize yourself. And how do we stabilize ourselves? By taking responsibility, because we are the author of our own novel. We are in charge of our tempo. We are in charge of our actions, what we say. Perfect card. Now, oh, this is cool. So we get the 4 of Roses next, which says views of the ego. Now, oh, we have 4 cards. Oh, we have a bonus one. So views of the ego. And isn't that that's what we're talking about? That's our ego. Oh, I'm, you know, been slighted. Oh, I was, you know, nobody wants me, or, you know, I work so hard and this, that, and me. That's what the ego is. We're all just worried about us. Well, what about if what happened was because you weren't looking at it from the greater good of everybody involved? And that's what happens when we get on that pity party train going nowhere, is we're just worried about ourselves and our ego. And we have to think about it too. Like, if something happened or somebody treated us a certain way, maybe that person's having a bad day. We have to remember that it's not all about us. There's other things going on. There's other things factoring it, people's feelings. So put yourself in somebody else's shoes and think, you know, how are my actions or my deeds or the lack of me doing this or not showing up, or how is that affecting other people? And stop thinking about just your egoic self. And that's very hard because, you know, to operate in this earth plane, we have an ego, but we have to learn to keep our devil on a diet. So, oh, this is cool. So this is neat. The next one is 7 of Strolls, which is intricacies and industry. And you see this person here, there's a lots of, looks like charts and diagrams. Looks like they're building a cathedral. So I love this card because build your house. You know, I love Stevie Nicks. I've been listening to her since I was a kid. And in one of her songs, I can't even remember what it is right now, and shame on me. But one of the lines is, when you build your house, call me. Build your spiritual house, you know, and that could be for anybody. You don't want to really hang out with people or be in relationships with people that haven't built their house, their spiritual house, because then it's basically, they might have built something internally, but it's made out of sand. It's not built on a firm foundation. They don't have they don't have roots. They're not grounded. They're not full of substance. So worry about your house and worry about building that beautiful cathedral inside yourself, so that you aren't playing the blame game, because you know who you are, you know what you bring to the table, and you're not afraid to eat alone. This is really, really gorgeous for what we're talking about. It's so amazing how Spirit, God, Source, the universe always ties the cards in perfectly. And okay, this is beautiful. The last, and that was, okay, so 7 of Scrolls, which 7 is a great number, but it was an actual number. But this is the number 6 card. Usually the number 6 in the tarot is the Lovers. And it's beautiful because, you know, it's about love. It's about unconditional love, and what we have for ourselves, for God, what God has for us, what we have for ourselves, and then we're able to give it to other people as well. But until we have that unconditional love for ourselves, then we tend to point the finger and play the blame game, and woe is me, you know, I'm on that pity party train going nowhere. So this card says the Divine Physician. So be your own physician. Heal yourself. Don't wait for somebody else to heal you. And don't pass judgment. Don't pass blame. Go inward. You have all of the tools to be your own healer, to fix what you are doing wrong. How gorgeous is that? Well, thank you, everyone. I hope that you have a wonderful Saturday. I'll probably post this tomorrow, so it'll come out on Sunday. But when you see this message, it's when you were supposed to see it. They're timeless. And always remember to keep swimming towards your dreams. Bye.